Hey, well, first of all, I'd like to say, and ASB are gonna find me, because I want to be a part of this fucking dumb wannabe tennis tour.
You know, I think they got his testicles so far out their mouths that this is bullshit, you know?
I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm just thinking about having won the world title and hopefully trying to win another one someday. You just drop in and just smack the drop down, say bah! Well, I'll tell you, Stu, I did battle some humongous waves.
Oh, custom table, please?
Oh, surf looks good, Ivan. Not bad.
Ain't that swell with Jed and Vaughn.
Oh, those guys are back!
Get a haircut.
Come. This me? Thanks, Bellend, you fucking queen. Sick call, Lord Queen, mate. Spoke to you on the blower the other day from the job site. What are you doing, working as a sparky or something? Spark. Plumbing. Mate, how cool is that? Tradeswoman. Fucking, mate. Don't need a unisex toilet for old Bellend. She'll pop a squat anywhere. What a queen. But yeah, so I'm your host.
It's all about the counter, right?
What's that?
It's all about the counter.
That's right. Give her a shovel and an empty concrete bag and she'll do the rest. I'm your host, the two-time Gold Cone Peace Award-winning surf journalist, Scum Valley's finest himself, the punch-drunk pikey, the sultan of psilocybin, the maestro of micro-dosing, Smithy. Yeah, give it up for Smithy. And I'm joined here, as always, by my loyal co-host and... Hey, what the fuck? Where's the tall, skinny cunt? Tasmania? What the fuck?
He couldn't make it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're going to have a mental night anyway.
Well, we got you.
What about me?
I said we got you.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
Yeah.
I'm twice that cunt anyway. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, we're going to have a mental night. We've got a mental panel full of skits, psychopaths, and I'm going to jam as many mental illness puns into this evening as I can because we're here for Surf for Sanity, fully hamad surfing event, all in honour of kicking that black dog fair up the coit. Hope he gets the lot of mud, eh? But yeah, mental panel. We have Blake Johnston,
Chelsea.
the former Cronulla chode turned fully ripped out beans and brown rice 8-pack Techno Viking. Just a bastion of resilience. Surfed for over 40 hours, raised $450K for the Chumpy Pullen Foundation. Give it up for Blakey Johnston. And yeah, for just moving on, a little brief intro to our guests as Blakey makes his way up. We've got Chelsea Hedges, the 2005 world champ. Are you kidding me? You know, a once-in-a-generation talent, supreme style master and technician, fucking psychopath in the juice. Shit, she could pack it. And
a hell jet ski driver too, by the way.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah, she was at a Cura today.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the boys in.
Oh, well, don't fucking bring those things around me, Chelsea. But, you know, good on you. And Simon Williams, a just astute thinker, former Australian Institute of Sport athlete who's concocted one of the great, what would you call it? It's like a spiritual, mental, physical kind of program all geared towards sporting greatness. He's cooked up some mental ideas and wisdom. So we're going to hear from him. Give it up for Blakey Johnston, our first guest.
Hello, everyone. How you going? Not quite the intro like Jed gave you, but thanks for having me.
Fucking oath, brah. Whoa, Jesus. I'll just go this one, eh? How's that? Mate, how are ya?
I'm well, thank you.
What's going on? Yeah, so Cronulla chode to ripped out beans and brown rice 8-pack. What do you think when you look back at those like early period chode photos? You kind of look like Shane Warne and Long John Daly had an IVF baby or something. It's pretty fucked up.
We I was there probably about 6 years ago. I was just looking through one of the boys, just going to bed. I had my phone and we looked through the Instagram and they just started playing Fat Dad, Skinny Dad. So it wasn't just this one part. You could see that daily stresses of life, running a surf school down at home and forgetting about myself. Winter would come around, time would free up. I'd go to Indo, surf, get running a little bit and then just fall back into that bit of a bit of a routine and get back into business and that little bit of stress. I could clearly see just from posting photos with the family and surfing that there was a bit of a pattern to it, and it was a kind of something that made me little bit of the fire to make a change.
How good's fat shaming your former self? Like, you can just tee off, Like, I remember when I was like a semi-fat cunt, I did my rotator cuff and just like sat in a stab office eating ham and cheese jaffles for 3 months, just fully blew out. It's disgusting.
Oh, super selective with the photos of you surfing, just deleting them if you got a double chin on a roundhouse cutback or something. You're like, nah.
Mate, and so going back a bit, like to the early years, growing up in Cronulla, it's a kind of industrial blue-collar zone, a really like iconic surf scene there. Ockie, Dogmarsh, Andy King, I guess all the Shark Island guys, Terapai, Richmond, Jezza Herback, Ox McKinley. Like, it was like a real hardcore surfing community with some heavy waves. Talk to us about those years and the kind of culture you grew up in.
Yeah, I had an amazing childhood. Like, we didn't have a lot. We had a dad that worked his clacker off, that worked on the north side, and as a young fella, I just wanted to be like my brothers who got to surf with dad in the afternoon, and I just wanted to be like them. They were my first real crew that I just aspired to be like, and it was a part of just hanging out with dad because we just loved spending time with him because he was always working and was a legend. And little did we know until we were a bit older that he was a really good surfer when he was young. He was still surfing a bit then when I was young, and he won the state schoolboys and used to surf voodoo and had a good reputation as being a good fella, but also a really good surfer. So, that we just thought he was the best, and that just lit fire into that. And my brothers were surfing really good and were sponsored, so we're amongst fully embedded in the culture down there, and had guys like Jezza and the older guys taking us surfing out the reefs, and had my own little crew as I developed. Like, I surfed more than anyone still to this day that I've ever seen. Being a coach between the age of 8 and 16, I reckon I spent more time in the water than out, and I got pretty good in that time, I guess, and got a lot of opportunity through it. Yeah,
well, you kind of juice the numbers by surfing for 40 hours straight, don't you reckon? Like,
Yeah. No one's conditioned for that. Nah.
No, except for you. It's like your whole life was leading up to that point, just all these marathon, grueling Grom sessions, and then...
and then working in the surf school, being in the water, teaching people to surf for the last 17 years. And I've said it a few times, but like I definitely look a good 20 years on what I really am. So
I don't know
that's a part of
that.
it. I'll take that with the life I've had. So
I think like weather's pretty hot these days.
Is it?
I think I don't know. Like, I reckon you kind of running this kind of like Berlin sex freak steez that kind of shit that gives you nightmares. Like, when you think about your missus cheating on you, it's like with a dude that looks like you.
Oh.
And it's like some tiny leather undies.
Except he's 5'6".
Oh no! We're back on.
There we go.
Mate, I'm interested to, obviously you're an elite junior surfer, sponsored, you did the QS, but even before that, like, where you grew up is a fascinating surfing community in that, you got fucking Pipeline at one end of the bay in Voodoo, you got Backdoor at the other with Shark Island. Like, far out, man. You must have been privy to some wild shit as a Grom, some of the super sessions that were going down. And then obviously Cape Solander, Suck Rock, like it's like the kind of the home of the slab. What was it like being introduced to that real heavy water in those days when, slabs were pretty like, they were more the preserve of the Booger.
They were, yeah.
Generally, but not in Cronulla.
Well, mate, the bodyboarders led the way, really. Like, even if you look at Cape Solander and stuff now, they were the guys surfing it, flipping their footage around so that no one knew that it was actually on our doorstep for like a good 5 years before any of us paddled out there. And, they dominated the island, and I was lucky enough to have the few surfers, probably half a dozen to a dozen surfers that frequent the reefs and Vui and live for those types of waves, and I was lucky enough to have them pick me up in the morning and be the Grom that they took with them. So from the age of about 11, it was sort of normal for me to paddle out Voodoo, and got pretty accustomed to it pretty early on, and there wasn't a lot of Grom surfing 30 years ago in waves like that, so they were happy to have me out there and show me the ropes, and it was a fair few.
That's sick, man. Talk us through that wave. Like, I love that joint. It's, got that full boil, but then goes so big and round, like Pipeline-esque.
Yeah.
Fuck, you must have had some crazy ones out there over the years.
Yeah, I'd probably, it's funny to say this, but probably had the wave of my life out there. And I've surfed everywhere around the world, and that's something that stands out in my mind. I've got the best wave ever, 5 minutes from where I live. And that's just, we travel around the world for these waves, and it doesn't break every day, but just to have that opportunity to have, the best surf is what makes Cronulla special to me. It's pretty crappy beach break, it's crowded, things change, but at its core, it's got this essence to it that reminds me of my childhood when it was a bit more raw, and the waves are still the same. They're still there, and they still challenge the shit out of you when they get big. And now I get more waves. It's good.
Amazing, man. And then graduating through the junior ranks, who was kind of around your time? Like, who were you competing against that went on to achieve great things?
I grew up with Flintoff. Me and him hated each other for about 5 years, and he ended up making the tour. But I spent a lot of time with Ace Buchan, Micro Hall, Bottle Thompson, and they were my age, and we travelled together for about three to 5 years, before I took over the surf school and started heading in that direction.
And the QS, what was it like in those days? I chat to Bottle, he's got some wild stories just about, well, you know what, I can't even tell any of those stories he tells me, but let's just say you were doing it on a shoestring, and it was kind of the bad old days of surfing in a sense. Not saying that you guys were responsible for any of the shit, but it was a pretty degenerate time, right?
Yeah, we still did it pretty raw, We were getting paid and everything, but we were still surfing event to event, hoping to make money so we could go to the last few events of the year as we went through Europe and onto Brazil, and then hopefully getting into Hawaii at the end of the time. So you needed that support of one another, and that was some of the best memories ever. Just not having much money and just being there for one another. It was actually really genuine to have that support. I'm still friends with all of those guys because we were there when we were winning and when we were struggling as well. So it was really special.
Give us something filthy and raw from the...
something I'm still a bit bitter about.
Is it bitter? Yeah, I don't know, maybe did someone, piss in your sleeping bag or...
Someone borrowed my car. I didn't know the bloke. Actually, I won't name him. I do know him. He was a Maroubra lad, and he borrowed my car in France. The first year I was ever able to lease a car, and it's way cheaper when you lease a car than rent it. And he borrowed it because my car was smaller and the rest of us had to get down to Portugal. And he rolled it in the middle of Spain. So I was 17 trying to deal with a French Peugeot car that was rolled in Spain with no police report and no money for it for the next 2 months without a car because he just didn't give a fuck. He just left me there. So it was a bit of a battle. That sucks.
Wow. That's brutal. Yeah, can't top that. That's raw. Mate, and then obviously you go back to Sydney, you start a surf school, it's wildly successful. Yeah, I mean, how was that transition for you from, you're an elite athlete or, yeah, I'm calling QS elite, you're in the top percentile of surfers on the planet, and then you're just fucking pushing flapping kooks into scorpions in the Allura shore break.
You can look at it like that, or you can look at it like I'm
that's great. That was like a highlight. That's my dream job. Here you go, Sven.
Janine, remember them days? Yeah, it was actually, looking back on it now, it was one of the more difficult periods of my life where I'd been paid good as a junior surfer and touted as, a lot of expectations from other people that I felt myself. So as I slowly sort of didn't get close to qualifying and drifting off, it was a lot. I didn't have a lot of self-belief by that point. It was like, oh fuck. Over that period, I feel like I was trying to get these results and prove to other people that I could do it, could still do it, and I was not putting myself first at all. I was really fixed in where I was, and I wasn't working towards any major goals. Not seeing any progress with that, so it sort of felt pretty stagnant at that point. And then when I got the opportunity through Dog Marsh to get the surf school and do a lesson and then spend a month or two with it and see the progress and the business start to grow with my presence being there, it was like, sick, I can be in the ocean, do where I love, and I love people too. So to see them share with something I love with them was just felt right. I'm still there.
Mantle. And so moving on, along this timeline, you kind of, I guess, at a certain point burn out a little bit. You mentioned, you kind of prioritising your professional life probably over your physical and mental health.
Yeah,
Is that fair
definitely.
to say?
Yeah, I think people will be able to.
It's a common thing to do.
Social pressures and self expectations we have with life in general, the way we live these days. Being a young father, having a small business that's very seasonal, wife not working as she's pregnant with the boy, and these expectations, and sitting in that sort of negative set, and feeling again a lack of self-worth at that point, feeling like there's no progress. Everything was pretty hard, and just sitting in those emotions are all closely tied. If we're all sitting feeling worried, it's closely tied to frustration and anger and disappointment, and before long that becomes a bit of your personality, and it's it takes a quite a bit of self-awareness and self-evaluation to realise that you need to make a change, and that's the hard part. And that was that's where I was feeling at that point, and it wasn't coming from my wife or anything, but just expectations I'd set of myself really were making it hard for me to see clear and be aware of my surroundings, and ultimately be grateful for what I did have, and not what I didn't have and what I was working towards.
I think it's a really relatable story. I mean, anyone of a young family who's working for a living full time in the working class can relate to that story. It's a grind. It's fucking hard to do, and it's hard not to let the pressure and the stress and the bills and the sleep disruption and there's just so many forces pushing down on you due to what is mostly a system. Right, and then you're not even talking about hectic trauma and stuff like that a lot of people are dealing with too, from family issues, absent parents, race issues, gender issues. There's a lot of things that can upset the apple cart there. But at the end of the day, you've really only got yourself to rip yourself out of the mire, right? How did you correct, or what was the process to kind of achieving kind of just relinquishing yourself, just killing the inner chode, if you will, and outer chode? I
guess looking at that part, there wasn't a lot of self-awareness, and it took to even going to took my from the outside things were looking great. I had a beautiful wife, beautiful little boy, and great property on Cronulla at home, and the circle's going well, but internally I didn't feel good. All that intrinsic stuff I wasn't aligned. And then my dad took his own life around that same time, and it sort of really just added to how I was feeling. For a couple of years there, it would have been 3 or 4 years that I looking back now, was definitely not where any of us deserve to be, feeling depressed and anxious and feeling unworthy of anything good to come our way, sitting in that negative space for a long time. And it was through that grief, went through that grief process with Dad, and that was very confusing for a lot of the time. I went through the full range of every emotion that you could go through to deal with it. So I learned more about myself in those 3 or 4 years. And it got to a point where I just thought, I don't want to be another statistic, not another one of those, 9 a day in Australia or 800,000 globally that take their own lives. It's a massive, massive issue. And I took control of that. I wanted to be there and be the best person. I was always a good husband and father, but I knew I could be better, and I deserved to feel better about myself as well. So got to the point where I needed to make a change, and knew it was up to me to do that. I wasn't going to come and get saved or miraculously win the lotto. It was about me taking responsibility for where I was, for how I was feeling, and leaning into that discomfort of making a change. Small changes are hard in life, and a big change like that really takes a lot of vulnerability and a lot of accepting the truth of where you're at and what needs to be done.
Oh man, I'm so sorry that you had to go through all that. And when I think about your dad's passing, and I think about some mates I've lost, to suicide, I always kind of I look inside of their journey and try to kind of construct an almost like what do you call, like an autopsy of what led them to that place. And you know, like from your dad's journey, like what did you take away from his passing? Like what did you learn about his life that could help you not end up like that?
Yeah, totally. So I just from what I know now, you know, there's still things that spark into my mind which could have helped him, some simple, practical things that he could have been aware of that his generation weren't brought up with in like today's society, but there's a lot of awareness around our mental health and well-being. Conversations didn't even exist, you know, and I just look back at, he worked his ass off. He had a family that absolutely loved him. He didn't feel valued within himself. You know, he worked ass. He didn't get ahead financially, but just the connection that he didn't have outside of the family and his work. He didn't have his own hobbies that he could have, you know, kept him interested and kept him seeing some progress outside of what he already had, you know. So I think it's that connectivity, having his own group of mates and his own interests outside of the monotony of work, life and that stress, where I know now how important that is, how important it is to have, you know, a group of friends outside of, you know, he was our dad, we all loved him so much, and maybe we didn't see some things that we could have seen, you know, because he was our hero. We just wanted to hang out with him, we didn't, you know, we just wanted to spend some time with him. We've got one of 5 boys, and we all just wanted to go and hang out with him in the afternoon when he got home from work, and be in his presence and his company. It was different to me. He was really quiet and humble, and, you know, it was just great to be in his presence, and that's what we missed the most. It wasn't about him providing money for us and giving us opportunity. It was just his authenticity that we loved about him, and how genuine he was. And it was that, and just his health routine, you know, like he could have eaten better. He could have done all these simple things that we have access to that we don't put enough thought into because they just seem so simple and so hard to do when we're not feeling good. But I mean, there's enough studies, there's enough things proven now that, you know, that it's at our fingertips to make change if we want to. Evidence is there.
Yeah, it does come down to just having the right tools, huh? And that generation just didn't. They had no awareness, no tools. And, you know, we're of a similar-ish age, similar generation, where we come up at a time where the culture was very different. We were just talking about it before, like, you know, one of the real appeals of surf culture growing up was that it had this kind of punky, drug, alcohol-infused, like, counterculture thing going on. But at the end of the day, like, that's super toxic. And, you know, it wasn't until really, like, I hit 30 that, and I ended up, you know, you grow up in the south side of Sydney, it's easy to end up in trouble and you know, fighting and fucking around and, you know, single parent, broken home, like bullshit, and then, like, you end up on the bones of your ass at 30, like, you know, just inundated by intrusive thoughts about self-harm, and you're just going, oh, this isn't me, but, like, what, like, how do I get out of this quagmire of mental illness? And kind of like yourself, like, setting an intention, like, I want to survive, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
Was a big thing. And I think once you set that as an intention, like, it seems a bit woo-woo, but these things, I don't know how to explain it, but when you have a firm intention in mind, somehow, like, the world gives you what you need. And for me, that was just a mate who I grew up with who gave me a tool. He just goes, oh, mate, you should try Wim Hof breathing.
Yeah.
And I did. And I latched onto that because it immediately was this technique. I could do it at any point. It was all on me to do, and I just did it. Yeah. And I did it until, like, I started to reach a place of some security and stability. I stacked meditation on top of that, and now I'm religious. Like, I do that stuff every day. And for me, those two tools are really, like, at the foundation of good mental health. I think, like, it's actually pretty simple. Like, when you do just starting the day with those two things, because, you know, the Wim Hof is like, it gives you so much energy, it detoxifies you, and then the meditation gives you understanding. Like, it helps you understand, you know, why you feel the way you do, like, and kind of makes sense, helps you make sense of things that may be going wrong or right for you, and kind of plot a course through life and navigate the inevitable challenges. But, you know, it comes down to having the tools, doesn't it?
It does. And it's about understanding how do you find that self-worth and that self-belief. It's through a little bit of progress, you know, building up the evidence that you can make change and you can move forward. Like by you, for me, it was similar. I did a breathwork thing with Nam Baldwin at the HBC when I was up here coaching, and then I went on a surf trip and read a book on it, and I read a story, and someone's story related to mine, and it was just, I'll look into this a little bit further, and I felt a little bit better. From there, it was changing the diet, starting to exercise more, and just not just thinking. I'm someone who's got a, you know, fast-moving brain. I'm non-stop. So to add another thought onto that just seems really hard for me to process. But by putting into action my body, whether it's just thinking about how I'm breathing or moving my body, I can get to a place where I can be clearer and calmer and be able to be in a better state, you know, and be able to sit in those more positive states of gratitude and happiness and see the opportunities I have in front of me and be as present as I can be.
I went and saw this Tibetan monk in Ocean Shores. He was there for a couple of days, and mate, it was amazing. I don't want to like ramble on about it too long. I want to get into your surfing marathon, but just quickly, he said this really profound thing, that the ordinary mind, like the mind in its ordinary state, is perverse. Like the way our mind is it's fucked up, and it needs to be trained. And no one trains the mind in our culture. It's like people train the body, but almost nobody trains the mind. And as a result, we just got this thing just fucking cycling off, spewing horseshit like around the walls of our skull, like 24/7 in every waking minute. And like, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Like, and you attach to your thoughts. You think your thoughts are you.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to think that, but your thoughts are thoughts. They're not really you. You have 70,000 of them a day or something.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's what's there to keep us alive, to help us survive, you know. And when we live, we're not fighting for our survival every second of the day. And the brain's amazing. It lets us create and do what we do as humans these days. But through evolution, it was simply there as a tool to keep us alive, you know. And the stress that we have about tomorrow or these minute things, when we sit in that elevated state for too long, that's what causes the disease, right? Even if it's a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of thought about the future that we're bringing in, we're elevated, we're high, and that's releasing hormones that aren't good for our bodies to sit into over years and decades. And, you know, if we're highly stressed and anxious, then it's going to happen even sooner, you know, and that plays a part in our physical and our mental health. So it's important just to learn those basic things, you know, that it's natural for us to feel these negative emotions, but when we stay in them for too long, it becomes detrimental to our overall health. And the breath work, the meditation, it's all about us bringing back to the present moment and being able to be the best you can be in those moments. So you can be there for your work, for your husband, for your wife, for your whoever it is, to be the best you can be. And that's as simple as I like to keep. Anything that I teach the kids that I'm working with or any of the retreats I run, it's just really practical. It's not woo-woo or anything. It's like, this is the way the body works. It's really simple. I'm no expert, but let's experience it, and hopefully it's a tool you can use like I have to change my life.
Mate, amazingly said. Now we get to the good part, because, you know, you've been through the ringer of insane grief, of, you know, just the working class grind, raising a young family of a small business. Like, those things are enough to fucking break a man, break a woman, break anyone. But, you know, at your lowest low, you strive to do better, and you do better, and you get the tools. And what happens next? Like, you somehow, like, that's the thing, like, when you start doing this work, the breath work, the meditation, you start, like, getting ideas. Like, I call it, you know, it's like what the Tibetans call the Buddha nature or the Christ consciousness. Like, you start getting these downloads, these ideas that come out of the fucking ether, and they're so profound and earth-moving and inspiring. And for you, the manifestation was, I'm going to just fucking pound the pavement like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that. I think if I think a bit deeper about it, it's just changing my experience, changing my environment, you know, new experience, new feelings and emotions, new thoughts. So doing something new outside of your normal routine. Like, we all get pretty good at being parents and chippies and managers and whatever we do for a living, and good at hobbies and sports that we do and surf for 20, 30, decades. And just to have that little bit, show that little bit of vulnerability, lean into something new, that new newness creates curiosity, and you start thinking a little bit differently. And when we take that approach, it kind of transpires into different parts of your life. So I think the running was just the fact that I was feeling the change within from taking action, and that's what led me down that path. And I saw this progress, and just that's where I developed that. I think that's where the self-belief comes from. Don't like using the word confidence. I like self-belief, having the evidence to show up and be committed to what you're going to do. And then I think that's the way, putting it into action is the only way to actually find that.
So give people an idea of what you're actually doing. Like some of these kind of psycho missions.
I went to Desert Point and I surfed as it was pumping at the end of one of my surf retreats. And I cut my foot and I got home, and at that point I was already feeling really good. And I went to put my shoes on and my foot just bled out. So I ran the next 100 days barefoot. I did 1,000 Ks in those 100 days or something stupid. And then did the marathon barefoot, no water, no food, no supplements. Did that off the bat of just running every day. And then ran, that's what my first sort of thing. I went, wow, what's possible now? I just saw this progress and kept going, and then set off to do, I want to do 100 Ks. So I ran 80 Ks and just would pack backpacks and go missing for the weekend and just run through the night and come back to the family in the morning and run through the national park next to Cronulla. And I think I put my wife through quite a bit on those things. There's no reception down there. It's all shitty, but I was so confident with it I'd get it done, to a point that it was pretty detrimental to my physical health. Like I was definitely, call myself a run kook. I just do it and know that I can get it done. I'm not breaking any records but my own, and just learning so much about what we're capable of along these things. Like my identity's always been as a surfer, up and coming Grom that's going to be a pro surfer, to surf coach, to, my life's revolved around it. And I think it was just this, seeing what was possible outside it and leaning into something new again, and then seeing this progress, and then getting to points where, like, if I could do a barefoot marathon, I couldn't run 5Ks 7 years ago. What could I do? Where does it end, So I like to keep challenging myself and seeing that, what I could do, and get to points through it. And I've just learnt so much about what we're capable of through these moments. You go on one of these runs and you're gone for 24 hours on your own, and you get to a point and you just think, I'm fucked, my Achilles is gone, I'm out of here, you're in tears. And then you push through that moment to a feeling that you've never had before, where most people would pull out and go, I'm done, I'll come back next time, or I'm injured, I can't get out. It's just taught me that we're so much more capable than what we're led to believe. And like, for me to say that, for someone has honestly struggled with their self-worth a lot, maybe it was being a middle child, or, not quite being as successful as I wanted with my surfing, and reflecting now on what I know and more self-awareness that I have, it wasn't just one episode that ruined it. I look back and I'm like, I've always been that way. I've always been empathetic and compassionate and caring in my family. And that's sort of been, aware of where I'm at and wanting to make people happy around me. But I know now it was a bit to do with self-worth and making sure that I was enough to keep people happy and people liking me. And it wasn't until that I empowered myself by making the change I needed to and stepping outside my comfort zone and stepping a little bit away from surfing of who I believed I was, I thought I was, and taught myself that I can do anything. And that's half the reason why I'm doing the talk here and doing it, because I said it when I talked to you before, that I'm no one special, but I believe everyone's special. That everyone has another level that they can aspire to that they don't even know existed. Mental health's not just about being depressed and working your way through it, helping through the hard times. There's a full realm to it, and we've got to maintain it when we're feeling good so we can achieve and be the best people we can be, and we can do some amazing shit when we really do believe in ourselves and lean into it. And it takes a lot for me to sit up here growing up where I did with brothers paying each other out for 2 decades and go, mate, self-worth and self-love is the hardest thing to say out loud, but it's what we've got to aim to do to become who we want to be and live the life you deserve.
Oh, amazing, mate. Such a good message. Give it up for Blakey. Come on. Amazing, mate. Amazing story. And I mean, at its core, like at the end of the day, you have to work hard for it. Like that's the price of admission on planet Earth, isn't it? Like
it is, yeah.
There's just an element of putting your shoulder to the wheel and ripping in, and it's always good to keep in mind the people that you're ripping in for. And when I say ripping in, it's like doing work on yourself to make yourself.
That's it.
A decent person.
Totally.
You don't just wake up fucking sweet every day. It's just not how it works.
That's not how it works. It's constant work at it as well, and it's remembering that you're doing it for yourself. And when you're the best person, there's that saying where it's, you'd die for someone. You love them so much, you would die for them. But I reckon that's a complete cop out. It's would you live every single day for them? Get up and be the best you can be, so you can show up and be the epic dad that has the energy to play with them at the end of a busy day or a busy week, and really be there and present in the moment and give them what they deserve too.
And it's all about energy. It's like, and these tools generate energy. That's the thing. It's like, it's like one thing to say, can you be the dad who's got the energy to play with the kids or be a good partner or whatever, but at the end of the day, sometimes you're just fucking rooted at the end of the day and you don't have the energy to be a happy, decent person. But you can always go into your room and pump 3 rounds of Wim Hof and have a cold shower and then you're dad of the year again.
Yeah, that's it. Like you can be there, but you can also, you can be in the room, but you're also not present, and that's an important part, to be enjoying those moments, and they don't last forever. So it's important that we create that self-awareness, and there are tools that I've used that we can all tap into that are easy, like we've mentioned.
Man, I've fucking cooked my time budget already, but I've blown it. Sorry, Steve. But the surfing, mate, the 40-hour marathon session, like one of the most remarkable feats I can remember transpiring, I don't know, fucking in my life, really, in this country anyway. Like, just unbelievable scenes down there, man. At Cronulla, your home beach, the community got right in behind you in such an amazing way. I mean, what are your memories? Like, what are the standout moments from that journey? It was wild to watch unfold.
Yeah, a range of things. I had just like rocking up the first morning and straight 5-6 foot closeouts and just going, fuck, that's going to really make me earn this, I wanted to paddle out 2 foot alley rip bowl and high five my buddies and, wish them luck, but it was 5-6 foot closeout. The rips were just moving around because it was an east swell, and they'd paddle out, get ping-ponged and go, fuck this, I'm out of here. You can have it. I'd done 400 duck dives before the sun came up, and there was these big jellyfish that were just fucking present all last summer, and every second paddle you'd be touching one. Not they stung much, but it was just another element to what was expected. And being so big, we did a light test 2 weeks before. I had a little surf out the alley with my boy, like a full red moon. It was just the sickest half an hour we had to test the lights, and it was like a 2-3 foot shore, exactly how it could have been. But by the time I paddled out the back at 1 a.m. in the morning, it was so far out that every time a wave would rise, the pitch of the thing was so dark. So it was just this contrast of complete darkness, no wind, so that was just sheet glass, and then just brightness every time you turned around. So it was just hurt the eyes to be straight away. The eyes were hurting just from the contrast of how bright it was, how dark it was, and that just set them on fire for the next 2 days.
Oh man, and like who are give us an idea of what your support crew was like. The preparations, like the logistics of pulling something like this off. Yeah,
it was very different to how I normally operate. I'm pretty scattered. I say I'm running around at 1 million times an hour, and all those the lead up into it, how I got to that point of being able to go, yeah, I can do this world record, was those runs through the bush, was supping 60 k's on my own overnight, and just doing these things that I could find the time to do that I didn't take away from my family. And it was really raw, really raw, and just I wouldn't have been able to do this whole thing without my wife doing the 36-page, proposal for the council, and the nutrition plan, and the doctor, my good mate who's a doctor, that was there for 30 of the 40 hours, that was keeping an eye over the paramedics and everything, making sure he's a surfer, so he knew exactly what I was going through. And just the care that they showed in it. I didn't have that self-care. I was determined. By the time I stood on the beach at 1 o'clock, I knew I was going to see the end. And it'd just been through this process. I knew it. I'd never felt like that before when I was on the beach at 1 a.m. I was like, no matter what it throws at me, I'm going to get to the end. For about 3 months out leading into the event, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to have a crack at this manifesting bullshit and just really actually have every intention about this moment that I want to achieve. And every morning I'd run past the alley, I'd stop and I'd imagine this huge crowd just at my home break, just at the alley, thousands of people. And at first I kind of chuffed it off going, you're a wanker. I kept doing it and leaning into it. And by a few weeks into it, I was standing there kind of feeling the same emotion of just being exhausted and just elated with the joy that everyone would bring, that everyone was having a good time and felt connected as one for something, bigger than themselves. And as it ended up transpiring to exactly how I'd manifested, through those moments. And it felt like I'd lived these moments before. And that just gave me the strength. It didn't matter what negative thought would come into my head, I would just move and be connected to my environment and knew that I would be catching the waves. We planned to ride 500 waves and I rode 707 waves. So the doctor was like, you're eating too much food, like we don't have enough food, we got to hydrate you more. And they were all working to be, and I was at points going, fuck, I'm just going to stay in the water, I'm not coming in. And they could have flicked the switch off any time because there was a lot of people involved in the process and a lot of money being raised. So that surf, I went through all those emotions, like my big runs where I was frustrated and joyful with the hundreds of people there on that first night. It was like a freaking night in Bali. It was 23 degree water and, a gorgeous night with 300 people in the water. It got dangerous. We had to call the lifeguards back down to the beach to clear everyone out because we didn't expect that turnout or that to become a safety concern. And, man, there's an array of events that happened that just sort of feel so amazing to be part of my story. It's incredible.
Oh, man, what a story. Give it up, please. That's just as good as it gets. And you raised $450,000 for the Chumpy Pullen Foundation, and I understand, what are the you were kind of explaining some of the workshops and stuff you're doing now. Like, what's the practical application of all that money you raised? Like, what are you doing now with the foundation or with some of these projects?
Yeah, so I chose to do it for youth mental health. I think society's done a good job of awareness. There's quite a bit of talk about it. It needs to continue, and I think the next step that we need to think about is going beyond conversation and teaching and actionable practical skills that we can take into our everyday lives that can help enrich your lives and help you survive but also help you thrive and live as good as you can. So I've been running surf retreats that have turned into, we call them swell-being retreats, where we add in the ice baths. We challenge them all day long. We teach the kids resilience and they come home from 3 days with an experience they can be proud of and some tools that they can go, hey, I noticed that I have a bit of a control. I've become more self-aware when I do some of this breathing work and take that woo-woo and scientific side out of it and show them how practical and how useful these tools are. And I think the way to do that with the kids coming through is not another conversation or another post on Instagram. It's experiencing it with the right people that are influenced, that have that lived experience that can connect with the kids, and we're going to put the money towards that and get to as many people as you can, and especially to people that don't have access to the money to be able to come on these things and work with other organisations that believe in what we do as well. We've got Pat McGorry on board, who's Australian of the Year and started Headspace, and and it's not just for kids, it's for everyone, but I just feel like it's rarely spoken about, and that was what happened with the world record. The amount of conversations that people saying, thank you, your strength showed me, what you did gave me strength to move forward from where I'm at feeling at the moment. And then parents going, I just had a conversation with my 8-year-old about mental health. This is the best thing ever, from the actions that you did, showing the vulnerability. Because, it's really started something that I'm super proud of in that terms, a conversation that wasn't the intention at all, but it's what's obviously needed, and want to continue to do that and bring people on board that believe in what I believe in too, and make sure we're not learning this stuff. It's shit that we, like, every time I do it, I'm like, my kid in year 3 should be learning this stuff at school. It's so simple and practical and proven that, it should be a part of everyone's lives so we can live better and be more balanced.
100%, man. 100%. All right. Well, one last round of applause for Blakey. We're going to get our next guest up. Another youth mentor,
Thanks,
Chelsea Hedges. She's the 2005 World Champ, Slinky Style Master, Tube Freak and Hamad Rail Technician. She's also the newly minted Surfing Hall of Fame inductee. Give it up for Chelsea. The champ is here. The champ is here. Hall of Famer. Hoffer.
I'm 40 now, so I must just, once you're 40, you can get to the Hall of Fame.
Is that right? Is that the bare minimum?
I think so, baby.
True. How was it, the night? Down there in Bondi, of all places, my old hometown, a couple of blood spurts and spatters from old Smithy's heyday, eh?
I didn't venture to Bondi very often. You don't leave the bends when you live in Avalon.
True.
Yeah. But no, it was a really good night. It was, pretty overwhelming, actually. It was interesting. I've sort of spoke to a few people about it back in, when I was competing. We didn't have social media and stuff like that so much back then. And, you win a comp or do something and it's, you have a party at the end and next day it's sort of move on. And after that, it was just blowing up on social media and people down the street oh, congratulations. I'm like, how do these people know about this? And it's just oh, that's right, there's social media. Yeah, it's a different world now.
And so give us an insight into the night. None of us were there. So who was in the room? Was it a little bit intimidating? Was it a lot of your heroes there? Or how does it all go down?
Yeah,
Blake was there?
I was saying I haven't seen Blake in about 15 years and I've seen him twice in 2 weeks.
People used to confuse us when we were surfing.
We did, yeah. Just blonde, it was the blonde hair, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I reckon you would have knocked Blake in a heat, eh? You were gnarly.
It's pretty good.
I'm not joking. I think I'm joking, but I'm not.
No, he's ripper Blakey. We grew up on the Pro Junior Series together, and like you said, he had such a good group of mates, and that was time of our lives. Some of those, that Australian Junior Series, and really privileged to grow up with people like Blake, and inspiration. Bucko and Bottle and all those guys. So it was amazing.
Mate, and Avalon, probably one of the most blessed little bays in the world. You got the perfect little right slab at one end. You got this kind of left point thing at the other. You got an outside left that holds huge. You got an outside right that they're surfing now, Avrix or whatever, and banks in the middle. It's such a nuts setup there.
Yeah, it's for a really small beach. There, like you said, there's a lot of different breaks, and LA was a little bit beyond me at that time when I think I was 14 growing up, and I was pretty scared of that place. I used to go out with my friends on bodyboards, and I don't think I ever surfed it. But then I just creep up to the north end and just surf off rocks every day until I graduated, I think, and got to year 7, and then you go to South Ave. You're old enough to surf South Ave then, but before that, you're up the north end. It was like Kitty's Corner sort of thing. You weren't allowed to go to the south end until you hit high school really. It was an amazing place to grow up at Avalon. Like you said, there's such a variety wave for such a small beach, and some really amazing surfers and really inspirational people to grow up with. And it was interesting. I was obviously back then just the biggest tomboy and best mates with my friend Gracie, and we used to we just hang with the boys and surf every day, and it was such a beautiful community. It reminds me a lot of I live in Kingscliff now and Cabba, and really grateful to have grown up in a place like that. And I see kids that grow up around this area now, and it reminds me a lot of home and growing up in Av. So
it's an interesting comparison because in those days, the Superbank I don't think existed yet, right?
No, I think there was a swimming pool there, and
Yeah,
it was just
like-
a longboard wave.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that the other day, and so now this is the kind of high performance surfing mecca, and it attracts the world's best because they can just do a million reps and a million laps and get really good. But back in those days, Avalon was literally that. Like Kelly Slater owned a unit there. Lisa Anderson, I don't know if she owned anything there, but she was there a lot. They're basically the two best surfers in the world are plonked in your hometown, and it's a small town or suburb. Yeah. I mean, and so what was that like, having access to those people? I understand Lisa Anderson kind of was an early friend or mentor even. What was that like?
Yeah, when I look back, as a 13, 14-year-old grommet in Avalon, exactly like you said, we'd go surfing in Avalon, and one of my best mates, Ben Raymond, Brucey Raymond, Janice Raymond, Bruce was director, part owner of Quicksilver at the time, and I was really good mates with his son, and Grace, I used to hang out at their house all the time, and obviously surf together, and Lisa would come do the Coke Classic, and so we'd have sleepovers there, and we knew that Lisa was a amazing surfer, but we didn't realise, I think, at the time who she really was. And then you'd see magazines, and sort of all started to come together. And she'd call us up after school. Come on, Groms, come surfing. And it was looking back now, I guess it was such a privilege, and so lucky to have people like that. And she was probably one of the biggest reasons I pursued a professional career, because I just saw her and how she looked on a wave, and not only on a wave but on land, and I was like, wow, she's so beautiful, and she rips. I was like, I want to be able to be like that, and girls look at me like that, you know what I mean, and be that person that can be inspirational to other people and be out in the water, and do what they love. To me, she was so happy all the time. Every time she'd hit the water, you just see this grin on her face. And for her to, call us up after school and invite us to go surfing. At the time, we didn't think it was that big a deal because we were just Benny's mates, hanging out. And but I look back at that and I just super thankful for those opportunities. And living in Avalon, it was now it's just the latte mecca. I hear down Avalon, drink lattes.
What are you against lattes?
I like lattes.
What, you just drink fucking Nespresso, dude?
No, I drink this stupid Smeg big pot of coffee thing. It's terrible.
Oh, really? You're on that Seppo program?
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah.
Wow.
Making a boobo. It was rubbed off on me 10 years later. But it's, and the same with Kelly. He owned a unit up on South Ave Headland, and he'd be out, and it was weird just going up, those people always being around. But it was just super grateful for those. That inspiration at the time, for sure.
Mate, and you were a once-in-a-generation talent. You stylistically supreme. Your technique was so pure. You set a benchmark in waves of consequence that it's only really being touched now, I reckon. Talk to us about you're obviously a surf coach at the HPC, or you work with a lot of youth there and run a lot of programs for elite surfers. Looking at your own journey, can you talk us through the building blocks, how you developed into such a unique but just ultra talented surfer? What were the ingredients, do you think, that kind of made you the surfer that you were?
Thank you. I think growing up with two older brothers helped. Like I said, growing up, hanging out with boys, and my best friend Gracie, she was just as much a tomboy as me. But we didn't like, sitting around. We wanted to be down the beach and go surfing. And but having two older brothers, it was always rough and tumble. And their older mates, were always hanging out with them. And you just wanted to do what they were doing. Get amongst it. And then obviously, growing up in the Pro Junior Series, having guys like Blake and watching what they can do, you just it's in your face all the time. And for me, that was always the benchmarks. Like, oh, I want to be able to do that. Why can't, like the boys are doing it, why can't we do it? And then the era of surf movies, like, Loose Change and The Show, and we'd put that on every afternoon after school. I remember it like it was yesterday. Fast forward to Rob Machado's section, just play that right before I go out. It's just like, I feel like kids are a little bit, don't get that as much anymore. We had such a good era where we had, just the authentic surf vids, and that's how we learned, like just watching other surfers over and over, and and then getting the opportunity with Roxy and Quicksilver at a young age to travel, like that was probably the turning point. Av obviously was a great place to grow up, but it's still a beach break, and getting to go to the Mentawais when I was like 15 years old, Hawaii I think I was like 14, and getting exposure to those sort of waves from an early age, and then wanting more, like I'd go there and just like adrenaline kick in, and you're just like, how good's this? Like, it's just these waves that you'd never even seen or fathomed before. You just see them in the movies, and then you're there surfing them, and you don't want to let anyone down, right? Like, they're spending their money to get you there. So I guess I just sort of had like an expectation on myself, I suppose, to like impress, my sponsors and the people that are investing in me. So that was a big driver for me. It was like, but then also what Lisa did for me too, I suppose, like, the inspiration that she gave to me on who, as a little kid, seeing that, I wanted to be able to give that to other girls. So that was like the biggest driver in the background, was, just wanting to always inspire someone else, I suppose.
It's amazing that you're a full Machado aficionado, because you managed to emulate his style. Like, it's bizarre. It's quite impeccable. And like Luke Egan's another surf you've been compared to, which is wild. Like, to be compared to, and these guys were of your generation, and you don't, I know it's kind of a weird combo. Women surf like women. You're not meant to compare women to men and whatever, but it's very rare. I can't even think of another female pro surfer who's been compared to, like, not just a male pro surfer, but like the creme de la creme of style masters. Pretty wild.
Look, that, that for me, that what Lisa did, like, she looked good on a wave, it's like, that was a huge part for me, like, and you hear, like, exactly like you said, girls can't surf as good as the guys or whatever it was. Like, back then I didn't even think about that. It was like I was just out surfing with the boys. Like,
well, that's it. Why would you?
Yeah,
you just want to emulate the best, right? Like, that's,
for sure,
it doesn't really matter what gender they are.
Totally, yeah. And, like, growing up in Avalon, like, the dads and the guys were so encouraging. I never ever felt that there was that angst against me being out in the water because I was a girl. If anything, it was the opposite. They were like so stoked that I was out surfing and giving it a go. And then obviously just watching the surf vids and stuff. It was big. I suppose my brother's really arty, and when you watch something on a wave, you want to feel it and look good. So it was. It just sort of came natural, I guess. I wanted to, emulate Rob Machado. Like, who doesn't?
Not many can, though.
I definitely not Rob Machado. I give it a crack.
I don't know, a little Puerto Rican afro, I don't know.
Get a perm, it should be good.
And you mentioned, like, a lot of external motivations, but at the end of the day, like, especially in waves of consequence, you got to want it and you got to love it. Going to Hawaii as a 14-year-old, going on the Ments as a 15-year-old. They're both consequential waves. The Ments looks perfect, but you got to thread those tubes because otherwise you're getting skinned. And Hawaii too as a 14-year-old. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, it was interesting. My mum was kind of freaking out.
That's wild. Sending your 14-year-old girl to the rock.
What,
late 90s?
Yeah.
And Braden Diaz is running the joint. Wow.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah, saw a bit go on in the early days for sure. It's pretty scary. I was just like hiding in the room in the Roxy house. But no, look, amazing
like what?
experience.
Come on,
like,
spill the beans. Well, give us an idea.
Oh, it's just party house, every night. No, look, I was, there's obviously back in those days, like you said, it's pretty raw, like and still sure stuff goes on, but it's just whether you choose to partake in it or whatnot. But when I was 14, I was like got picked. I remember Paul Paddo picked me up from the airport. Never met the guy, like middle, like always night flight, so you'd arrive in the middle of the night, like no idea where you were, just airman picked me up. Thank God, like I'd met Jake before and he was like, yeah, my brother's gonna pick up, he's so cool. Yeah. And you just putting your trust, and like my mum put my trust in Quicksilver Roxy to like look after me and pick me up and took me to I ended up staying with Skaz and a couple of the girls in this. It was like a shack out the back of Sunset, and like when I say a shack, it was like literally one bedroom. I'm pretty sure it had bed bugs, and I was like, oh my God, okay, this is
living the
interesting.
dream. I'm a pro surfer.
Yeah. So it was a bit of an eye opener at first, and then stayed there for like 2 nights. Pretty sure the next day we went, we'll go show you Sunset Beach, and we rocked up, literally walked across the road. Next minute, the FBI, like there's just sirens and everything going on. Rock up, down. They fly down the beach. We're going, what's going on? This guy, like full crackhead, run down the sand into the like foaming at the mouth. Well, I was like, and Skaz is like pretty much closed my eyes. She's like, put a hand over my eyes. Don't watch this. Runs into the beach. Ken Bradshaw paddles in from out the back because the cops are standing there, like, couldn't get the guy out of the water. Ken Bradshaw paddles in from out the back, tackles the guy from behind, brings him on the shore. This guy's like, welcome to Sunset Beach. It was like, wow. Just bizarre. Like, whatever, it happens everywhere. But so that was my welcome to Sunset. But then next day moved into the Roxy house, and it was this huge grey house right on Sunset, 20 million bedrooms. Fridge the size of your house, and it was just red vines, and it was pretty good from there on in.
It's interesting because, like, you talk to male surfers of your same generation. Nathan Hedges is a good one, a good example where he had a very similar trajectory through kind of child prodigy, doing search trips at 13, 14 with Curran and the gang, but like. He kind of makes the point that he was exposed to too much too soon, and he kind of took a squirrely route, but it kind of torched his career and led him into an absolute quagmire of mental health and addiction issues and stuff like that. But it's interesting, like that doesn't seem to be the case on the women's side of things. Like, what was the culture like amongst the girls? Like, were you taking, were you conscious of all that and taking better care of each other and you mentioned Skaz trying to kind of protect you a little bit even from some of the bad shit, as opposed to, on the men's side, they definitely weren't trying to protect each other from the bad shit, it seems.
Yeah, no, 100% you're spot on. Being, qualified for the tour when I was straight out of high school. I was 18. Did the QS that year, my last year of high school. So, I was super, super lucky to have people like, Kate, Serena and Rochelle and those older girls that, took us under under their wing. And, I think they could see that it's like, wow, you guys are vulnerable young girls, and they were there once too. And, they grew up in the era with like, Pauline and, Frida's Amber, and I can't imagine, those times. I think back then it was a bit more, you're out to get each other, there's no looking after each other, a bit more like that. But, I think they were just so used to fighting for everything that, when they saw, myself and Sophie come on tour, it was like, no, let's like actually look after these girls because they're the next generation coming through. So, there was definitely times where we were exposed to it, no doubt. Like, everyone was there. It was like you couldn't escape it, but at the end of the day, like, you had to make those choices, right? It's like, you know, do you wake up the next morning, you know, like, you got to surf a comp, you know, what are you going to do? You know, it's you know, I think, you know, coming back to my parents, like, being, you know, I guess taught, you know, respect for yourself, like, yeah, and I suppose too, like, even when I was growing up in high school, I just didn't really, all I cared about was going surfing and how I felt after I'd surf. Like, I'd go surfing, and that for me was like the biggest high. Like, I'd never needed anything else, I suppose, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and then I feel like it was the same on tour. Like, yeah, sure, like, drink whatever after the event, like, have a party after the event, but yeah, never before. It was just like so detrimental to everything you work for, right? Like, yeah, there was obviously goes on, it was tempting, but yeah, why would you, I don't know, it was hard. There was definitely times where, you know, it was people come on, and it was just like, yeah, I don't really need that, just, yeah, go surfing and that's enough for me.
Fully.
Yeah.
And I mean, during your time on the world tour, wow, like, the women's world tour was amazing waves wise. You guys were, you know, Fiji, Chopes, Honolulu Bay, and 2005 you win the world title, and you guys score like cooking cloud break. Talk us through that event and your relationship with that wave. Because you got a crazy one out there, and it kind of went viral back in those days, you know, before we really had virality in the modern sense, but it was, you know, it was on newspapers and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my mum's got it in a little clippings book. Yeah, obviously Cabarita is one of the best events that we had on tour. Amazing, you know, get flown to this island and hang out there for 2 weeks and just surf absolutely perfect waves. And yeah, we sort of, I think for 1 or 2 years we had it like pretty good, just fun size. And then, yeah, I think it was like about the quarterfinals, day of the quarters, I think it was. We woke up and we're going out in the boats, and it was pretty dark. You can't really see much till you know, like, the sun pops up, and sun came up and we were like, ooh, it's big. Kiala's just like jumped straight out. She's like crazy person. Like, you know, Kiala was just one of those girls that didn't matter how big, she was first one out in the lineup every time. And not, you know, closely followed by Rochelle Ballard. And I remember we were like, oh, should we go for a warm-up surf? And how you couldn't not though, right? It was like absolutely pumping cloud breaking way out, like furthest reef, I think, I don't even know what it's called, that furthest reef out. And yeah, like I said, it was, I don't know, for me it's just one of those things where I just wanted to be a part of that, you know, like seeing Kiala and Rochelle, you know, charging, and yeah, something would just kick in with me and I'd be like, yep, I'm going. Like, just, yeah, I remember paddling for a couple of waves before that and having a bit of a dig, and then we're sitting, I think myself, Kiala and Rochelle and 1 or 2 others are sitting way out, and these big ones just came, and everyone in the channel's like, you know, go! And like when everyone's yelling at you, you got to go, right? Like you're not holding back and paddling to this thing. Next minute I'm like, oh, I'm not making down this thing. And I just remember like free falling, and it seemed like forever. I was just free falling on this thing and got absolutely obliterated, fully whiplash. Pretty sure I cut my back, got scars everywhere. Yeah, and then I think I was surfing the quarterfinals that day, so when you get like fully rumbled and whiplashed like that, like I just went in and I'm pretty sure I slept for like an hour on the island, then came back out, surfed my heat. I lost, but it was, yeah, it didn't matter. Like just that experience of that morning and being a part of, yeah, I guess sessions like that with those girls. Yeah, it was, yeah, didn't matter what you know, how it went in the comp. I still hated losing, but yeah, that topped the event anyway.
What an amazing experience getting to surf all-time cloud break with a handful of people. I mean, these were the days when I think the island was still privatised, right? So punters couldn't really surf it. I mean, you must like pinch yourself in moments like that and be like, wow, like I'm a girl from Avalon, I've come all this way and I've got the best waves on planet Earth in front of me with just a couple of my mates out. What an amazing memory to have.
Yeah, those days
the
were
whiplash,
incredible.
less so, obviously.
Yeah. No, it's like, I tell my girls now, like, I've got photo books, and, show them the trips to Indo and stuff like that. And they're like, where are all the people? And I'm like, there weren't people back then. Didn't even know they were waves. You just paddle out and give it a go. And, it was, super lucky. And, I think that's, for me, those times, I look back and I'm just like, gosh, like, how lucky am I, you know what I mean? And, it's some amazing memories, And
let's just acknowledge that you made a ton of mental pits out there too. You didn't just get flexed and pin drop out of the lip on huge ones. So credit to you. And Chopes too. Like, talk to us about your relationship with that wave. Again, like, probably definitely the best female surfer out there up until that point, and probably the best for the next 20 years. Like, I don't think anyone, maybe Vaheen Fierro's kind of touched the benchmark. Maybe she's gone past where you put it, really, and that's only the last year or two. But talk to us about Chopes, because in those days that was like, there was men like Neko Padarats famously got a 0 out there, and like those guys who didn't want to bar of it.
Chopes was an interesting one. It was tricky because obviously back then we shared the events with the boys. We didn't have many standalone events, but you kind of want to have the boys out there. I think at Chopes, kind of learn where to sit and everything like that. Watch how they do it. Like, we had a lot of days that were terrible, to be honest. Like, 2 foot winds, windy, like breaking on the reef. You'd like be doing turns and kicking out before it was dry reef. So we had a lot of really average days. But we did get some pretty fun days. Like, I remember one session, I don't know if it was the second or third, I think it was in the second year, like super glassy, about 4 or 5, 4 foot, and really fun. And that's where, it made it real, I suppose. And now I see, the girls doing what they're doing, but they're doing it better because they're actually going and they're putting themselves in the lineups at Chopu. Like Molly put in weeks out at Chopu before that event. Surfing Australia helped get her over there with Sierra and go over and actually spend time there before the event and get to know the wave, where I wasn't doing that at Chopes, you know what I mean? Like, but going to Indo and stuff, I felt like, I had the practice from there and, had, I guess, the self-belief to do it when I got to that event. But, now it's different. The girls are actually wanting to learn those ways, and the same at Pipe, giving themselves the actual opportunity to improve rather than just getting there and throwing themselves over the ledge.
And, going back through your career, like looking at highlights, particularly from your world title winning year, like, the biomechanics are sublime. Like, your surfing is so good and so far ahead of its time. It kind of reminds me, like your backside in particular was a big strength. It actually kind of reminds me like, it's kind of like your backside and Steph Gilmore's front side. They're like
pumping up my tyres now.
Mate,
come on.
That's what I'm here to do, and it's all true. It's the truth. It's the cold hard facts, Chelsea. But yeah, like looking at your surfing and considering that Steph's won 8 world titles, I kind of would have thought that you would have won like more than one. You won one in 2005, but it seemed to me like, I think I was like maybe 18 when you won that one, and I remember like watching you and going like, wow, look how good this chick surfs. This is wild. Like, this chick's going to clean up. But you won the one in 2005, and then kind of like faded into obscurity in a sense. Like you obviously became a mother, which is something that's far better than any silverware you can win. But like talk us through. Well, I guess let's start with the world title winning year. Talk us through that year. Let's relive a few of the fond memories from that year before we get into what happened afterwards.
Really scratching the memory bank there. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of events, but what were the kind of pivotal moments in that year, or the really cherished memories?
Yeah, probably Hossegor in France one year. My husband was travelling with me at the time, and that was some of the really, really great memories of my life, like being able to travel with him and experience new cultures and stuff like that, and get to know each other at the same time, fresh love. But Hossegor was a really good memory. I remember we rocked up, no boards, so this used to happen quite often. So I didn't have any boards for the event, and my husband was a shaper back then, and I remember he went to the Pukas factory in Spain. He's like, I have to go shape you one. And he knew the guys down there, really fortunately, and shaped me this board. And I remember the spray, it was like green and blue and it had like stars on it. And I was like, well, this looks like a good, it was just one of those boards. And ended up winning the event on that board, won that event. And it's just memories like that. It's just weird, you get a setback, but then it makes you kind of put things in perspective and kind of dig a bit deeper for those moments. You got to chase it a bit more. But that was a special one. And then obviously Honolulu Bay. Yeah, really, really beautiful memories of that place.
Firing, cooking.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
long Hawaiian, hollow, right point, rippable. Dreamy.
Yeah, and being backside out there, I actually really enjoyed it because you could, you take off and it's really nice rolling takeoff at that wave, and then you just see these things just grow, you just see the end bowl just growing. You just so exciting. And it was I guess I had my mum and my stepdad there. On the hill that time, and Berlin was there. Berlin was commentating actually that event. Yeah. It was against Jacqueline Silver, I think. And look, honestly, it's it was a lifetime ago almost. That's what it feels like for me. And you have family and kids, and just this whole other chapter of your life. And obviously times like this it gets brought up, and I do have to think back to those moments. But it's obviously something you never forget. And I guess just that that accomplishment in your life that I really worked hard for. Since we grew up, it's doing coaching with Matty Granger and Martin Dunn and all those times that. It feels good to actually, for it to pay off, I suppose.
And you win the world title, and it doesn't really pay off. What
do you mean?
Well, I don't know. You win the world title. You're meant to go on and win another 5, but you have a beautiful child, and you're a mum, and 3, but not at the same time. Not the year after you won the world title. You're not that good.
God help.
But so what happened? I know there's a bit of controversy about this, because you're sponsored by Billabong, you're the world champ, Roxy, sorry, and you have a child. And at this time, you got to remember, you got Wilsey who's doing the world tour with his kids, Parko is doing the world tour with his kids. So it's okay for fathers to travel the world and do the tour with their kids, but as a mother, it's kind of not okay or something. I don't know. How did it all work? I wasn't there. I don't exactly know.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. There is a few people there's a lot of speculation about that. For me, it was pretty straightforward. It was pretty straightforward from my eyes. Like, yeah, obviously won the world title 2005. Got married in 2006. Had always talked about wanting kids. I'm one of 3 kids, and my husband Jason's one of 3 kids as well. He's got 2 older brothers. So, yeah, having a family is always something I always wanted. There's no doubt about that. And then, yeah, we married 2006, and then 2008 had Mika. So Mika was born 2008. Obviously, not completely to plan, but yeah, found out we're having a baby, and I think I surfed Sunset in November. I was 3 months pregnant. I didn't, it was a bit of a shock when I got home and found out that I was 3 months pregnant. But yeah, look, obviously these things happen, and we were obviously, we still are in love, and like I said, that next chapter and having a family was always going to be on the cards. It obviously came a bit quicker than we'd anticipated, but that's life. And at the time I was sponsored by Roxy, and they fully supported me, still sponsored the year, had Mika, had the year off in 2008. I said, yep, coming back 2009, be ready to go. And they were like, yep, just whenever you're ready. And that same year, I believe it was 2008, the surf industry, similar to what it's doing now, I don't know, just the arse fell out of the market. Like, it was, business is business, and yeah, like Billabong, Rip Curl, they're all struggling. So to me, that's, and I'm sure a lot of you have your own businesses, and you all go through those struggling times, and it just happened that my contract was up at the end of that year, and I was on the international programs. I was on Roxy International, where we get paid from Europe, America and Australia, so a pool of, there was myself, Lisa, Soph, maybe 5 riders that were all paid internationally, and they said, look, we have to, take it back to, you're going to get paid by your own country. So Australia pay Australian athletes, European athletes, and fair enough. Like, they can't, whatever, the money's not there. And yeah, they offered me quite a substantial amount less, and just said, look, this is all we can do. And from what I was on to what they'd offered, and now having a kid and trying to travel, and obviously bring my husband with me, yeah, it wasn't going to be enough. So I said, okay, yeah, respect that. Like, I don't have any hard feelings with that. I just see that as business. It's like they're a business. They got to sell product. If they don't have the money, how much can they possibly pay us to sell the product? I don't know. Like,
it's
everyone
a funny
has
thing how they tell you they don't have the money. Yeah, we don't have the money, so we can't pay you. Like, maybe they do have the money.
I don't know. Maybe they do.
Fucking some cunt's got that money.
Yeah,
give it to Chelsea. They'll win some world titles.
Yeah, look, I don't know. It's just, a lot of people, like I said, have speculation about it. I just took it as it was, and I just went, I respect that. Offered me free clothes, which was...
Oh, yeah, I can eat clothes.
I should have taken that deal. I should have taken that deal. 3 kids, but... look, I just said, okay, respect that. And then I went, I'll try and get another sponsor, as you do, and ended up doing the next 2 or 3 years on the credit card.
Oof.
Yeah, hurt. Yeah. I worked out I had to make quarterfinals or better to get to the next event. Travelled, had Mika travelling with me, my mum or Jace. They'd sort of tag team in and out. Did it for a couple of years, and it was interesting what Blakey was saying about being present, and I felt like it got to a point, I think after a year or two trying to do it, and I was like, I'm being a mum and I'm not really present. You know what I mean? It was like, this isn't what being a mum is about. You know, like, I obviously love surfing still at the time, and I did find like a new, I was energized, you know, after being a mum. It's like a weird thing. I probably felt almost better than what I did before I had kids, and but there was a part of me I could just see like this little girl, and I'm like, I'm there, but I'm not actually there being her mum. So for me, that was it. I was just like, you know, me and my husband, you know, we spoke about, me and Jace were like, are we going to keep doing this? And it's like, it's not fair on your kids, you know what I mean? So, yeah, look, just, yeah, and obviously the credit card bill was racking up. So, yeah, I just, made, you know, and then made the decision that we, wanted to grow our family and have another one, and, yeah, that was that.
Amazing. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful story. Like, and it's interesting. It's like a really tricky thing with women's sport. I mean, I guess, are you the only female surfer ever to do the tour with kids?
No, Mel Redman
okay.
had a kid, and Mel Bartels from Hawaii.
Okay.
Lisa. Obviously, Lisa did it for, quite a few. I looked after her child for quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them actually, Mace and Erica. It's tricky, like, for sure. I wouldn't say, I know a lot of the dads on tour probably kids, and they feel the same way. It's like, surfing it's very consuming. When you're a competitor, it takes over everything, you know, and it's really hard to step away from it and give other people your time, and let alone like a 2-year-old running around, like, and then trying to compete at the same time. It's not only not fair on your kid, but it's not on, you know, on yourself to try to go out and win a comp. And I don't see, I mean, yes, mums have to breastfeed and do all that, and I did all that, and travelling at the same time. It was good fun, and just handballing my child off to, you know, Steph's kids or whoever was, you know, there at the time that could look after her, you know, at some events when Jace and my mum went there. But, you know, and it's the same, like, for dads. Like, I think I see, you know, the families now even travel around. Like, I think Philippe, pretty good example. You can just see they're not enjoying it because they're not being a dad, like a proper dad. They're not present with their kids. So, it's hard on both. I wouldn't. Maybe a bit harder on girls who got to breastfeed and that.
I wouldn't know. But so talk to us about then the transition out of pro surfing. I mean, I understand it was a pretty hard landing. You went from a once-in-a-generation talent to flipping snags and selling toilet seats at Bunnings. Is that right?
Yeah. Aisle 6, builder's aisle. Yeah.
I can own that aisle 6. Owned it like a 2005 world title. How was that? How was that transition? Like, you know, you're literally a household name in, like, not just surfing but Australian sport. Then you're at Bunnings. Yeah,
it was actually an amazing company to work for. Good benefits. Yeah, no. Look, it was just obviously like I said, we decided I wanted to be a mum, and had Indy, our second daughter, and obviously then the pressure was on Jace to come up with the money at that point, and obviously we all know the surfboard industry, it's a tough gig, and we owned a factory there, a surfboard factory for a couple of years, and that was really did really well for a while, and then I think my middle one got old enough. She went to start daycare, and I was like, I better do something. And I think Jace maybe started working at BCF at the time or something like that, and I actually don't even remember how I even thought of Bunnings, but it was just like, oh, that's right, we started renovating. Yeah, we started renovating our house. And like, how good would it be to get discounts on that?
Flow us some product,
Yeah.
Bunnings.
Yeah,
Do a couple backhand snaps oil.
yeah. So yeah, no, I literally did the whole process, went online and applied, and then had to go for, I think it was 3 interviews where you sit in a room and you do like these
resume.
Yeah.
2005 world title.
I think I put that in there. Yeah. Sat and did group team building stuff, and came back the next night and did it again, and obviously traveling the world, being a people person, I suppose they saw that as a good thing. Didn't know anything about building or toilet seats or irrigation or any of that stuff, but I guess and that's one great thing about Bunnings is it's all about customer service, right? If you can please the customer at the end of the day, walk out with a smile, then it's all good. But no, it was honestly, it was a refreshing time of life. It was actually really nice to walk away from surfing for a while and do something different, and not think about surfing, and meet some people, that do the daily grind. And I respect every single one of those people that I worked with, except the old grumpy ones, pretty grumpy. Been there for way too long. But no, it was very humbling, and brought me back down to a level I think I needed to be at, to be a mum, and actually, in a way, it was like a great distraction from not being on tour, and because it's quite hard, it's a bit of a shell shock when you're so used to going surfing and just traveling in and out of living out of a bag and one place to the next, to not doing that. Obviously my kids were the most beautiful distraction, and that led into then obviously Bunnings. But it's I was like I said, that was another lifetime, it feels like, ago, working at Bunnings.
Well, it's funnily enough the perfect preparation for your next gig, which is a coach. What is your actual role there at the HPC? I know it's freaking high up. I can't remember what the exact title is.
That I know. Talent pathway coach for the High Performance Centre at Surfing Australia. So
it's perfect because obviously you're the world's best surfer, and then you go and work with ordinary people in an ordinary job, and you get to taste what ordinary life is like. And then you get the phone call to become a part of this multi-million-dollar high-performance surfing academy on the Gold Coast, where you're put in charge of nurturing talent, young talent, and you're able to, you need that kind of working class experience to have any real wisdom, I reckon. You're able to then impress upon the youth, some of the practicalities of life if the pro surfing dream doesn't work out. Talk to us about what that role has been like, and it's cosmic too, because you're now in a position to repay the favour that Lisa Anderson paid to you, right? You're kind of able, and I understand you actually did that for Steph Gilmore too. You did exactly what Lisa did for you. You did the same thing for Steph as well, right?
Yeah, I tried. Maybe I tried way too hard. 8 mile time. No.
I don't think so. I think she'd be very grateful. From what I understand, you used to call up her mum on the home phone. And, ask if she could take the day off school and take her surfing and stuff. You played such a pivotal role in her career as well.
No, and that's what it's about. Like I said, when I was travelling, I had Rochelle and Lisa and Megan and those girls, nurture me and look after me, and give me those opportunities. And I just saw Steph, same, kid from, Kingy growing up, and so talented, and you want to be around people like that just froth out, and go surfing. I was like, oh, this grommet's awesome. She just, wants to go surfing all day long, and, I love being around people like the energy like that, and it's like the fountain of youth, right? But also super respectful kid, with parents like Jeff and Tracy, and, I think for me it was the same. Like my parents, my dad, like Blakey's just on the grind, like leave at dark, get home at dark, landscape gardener for 20 years, and mum, you know, work every other day of her life, you know, clothing boutiques or whatever, and it teaches you, like good work ethic. And I suppose, you know, I'm going to Bunnings, like I enjoyed it. Like, it wasn't like I'd stepped up, you know, gone on to tour and didn't know what, you know, picking up a hammer was or anything like that. But just I guess now moving into the role that I'm in, like I can kind of thank my daughter a little bit for that as well. She surfed and she wanted her friends to surf, and she said, "Mum, I want my friends to surf. Can you teach them?" And I was like, "Well, I suppose we could do, I don't know, would they want to do a little, like, come down and learn to surf sort of thing on a Friday afternoon?" Next minute, there's like 12, 13 grommets of her friends on a Friday afternoon. I was doing coaching sessions with them, and that kind of snowballed, and that, like, brought me back to surfing, I suppose, and a new light on, you know, I guess why I loved surfing was just, like, frothing out, you know, with little kids, and and then obviously saw coaching, you know, I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, like, get to be down the beach again and, you know, teaching kids, like, how to surf, and started to get that, like, feeling back of when I was surfing, and that pleasure to help someone else improve, you know, because I remember being coached by some of the best, and I guess, going back to what, you know, Lisa and that gave to me, it's like, oh, this is another way I can kind of give back now, is, you know, share what I have or my knowledge, and, you know, share with those next little kids down the road or whatever. But now, like, what I'm doing with the high performance team at Surfing Oz is incredible. Getting obviously the opportunity to work there, and being taught by Martin Dunn in the early days, shadow coaching with him, and then with Bede Durbridge and Andy King, and obviously, you know, the sport's growing so fast, and, you know, it's especially the women's side now, and working with, you know, Sierra Kerr and all those young girls, like, it's a really incredible opportunity to sort of, I guess, share my stories and my experiences with them, and see where they can take it, I suppose.
Amazing, amazing. So good to have you in charge of the next generation. Please give it up for Chelsea Hedges. What's going on now, Bellin? Giving us the wind-up, dude. I can't wind up the 2005 world champ.
This is not working. No, you cannot. Absolute
Royalty.
legend. I remember walking into Bunnings, and I was renovating, and I saw her there, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing in here?" And I'm like, "Well, no boy in here knows more than what we're doing, so let's go do this." And then pretty soon she ended up at the center, and she's fucking killing it. So
killing it,
absolutely killing it, and she's changing so much. So we are so grateful for you to be here. Thank you for your story. We're gonna pull up another legend right here. I'll let you do your amazing introduction, because clearly you shit all over my introduction this morning. So go for it. Go for it.
I don't really have one for Simon, but he's got a fucking good thing going on. So let's get him up here. And
I'll give you an introduction on him. Come on up here. We got Mr. Simon Williams here. Simon is in charge of MAP, which is an amazing, amazing program that he created. Come on up here, darling. Come on up. Yep. Come on up. Yep. All right. Simon provides a one-of-a-kind experience for amazing, amazing athletes. He works with NRL, women NRL. He works with Olympic athletes, summer and winter. He works with all kinds of amazing, iconic athletes in mindfulness. He's very well respected. A lot of his own techniques or stuff that he has done his own research on with and collabed with other people. He works with Ryan Tin over here, who runs the Readiness Camp, and they work with our youth, helping them, giving them a platform where working on mindset and performance, where they didn't have that. He's an ex-professional cricketer, and he's giving so many amazing opportunities for kids to work over those demons that they didn't have when they were younger. So this is Simon Williams here.
Oh, how good was that intro? Dude.
Any single ladies.
Is that good?
Yeah, man, perfect.
Perfect.
Mate, before we get into the various projects you're a part of, let's go back to the start of your story and tell us a bit about the early years. Give us an insight into, who you are.
Who I am? Yeah, good question. I'm born and raised in the Blue Mountains of Sydney. Loved it there, but I guess when you live out Western Sydney like that, all you've got is pretty much sport or getting up to no good, and I chose sport. So yeah, spent my entire life just focused on being a professional athlete, reached the mark, but then fell out of love with that and lost the identity through that period of my sort of mid-20s. I'm sure some people have experienced something like that before. From that, went into the arts, music, film, sort of just complete diversion, like identity change. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then spent 10 years working in a charity mentoring disadvantaged kids. So that was part of the mentoring stuff, but had a coaching business since I was 16. So and I've just enjoyed that, loved that. And it's, as I said, now I'm doing it with some of the best athletes and artists and people on the planet. So it's amazing.
Amazing, man. And I understand you did a stint at the Australian Institute of Sport?
Yeah. Went to the ATS for my cricket, and then represented the NSWIS stuff at the same time.
Yeah, what was that like? What's the AIS like?
It's good. It's a good structure, a really nice structure. Now I love structure, especially when it comes to that sort of competitive sport. Definitely different to what it is now. Like mindset, performance, mental health, what didn't exist when I was 20. And that's why I do what I do now. I needed me when I was 22 and I didn't exist. So, getting to the point now where I've got a little bit of wisdom under the belt, now I can sort of, give back to that generation that needed, and also, work with those guys on tour that are doing great things as well, so we can sort of extend their careers and sustain that high performance.
Amazing. And so it's MAP and the readiness camps, correct?
Yeah, so MAP is the mindset, so it's motivation and performance partners. That's my business. And then Ryan Teeney, Chumpy Pullen's best bud up the back. So him and Chumpy came up with the idea for these readiness camps, and that is mindset and performance, but mixing that with action sports and putting the kids or the adolescents through these fear-based activities to test the tools that we're learning in the morning or whatever it might be. And with Chumpy passing, and Ryan still had the passion for, supporting the next generation, he asked me to join the fold, and we now co-run the business. And it's one of the best things I've ever been involved with, and it's a great thing, like focusing on, I was going to say with mental health, it's kind of like a thing that we need to really start to look at and see it as mental health, not mental ill health. I think one of the things that we do is we're really good at curing things, but sometimes we're not so good at preventing. So shifting that focus to prevention, with Blakey with Swellbeing and a lot of this activation with Ryan with readiness camps, it's these preventative tools that allow us to empower ourselves as adults as well, but as parents and our adolescents and our younger kids to, when they get challenged by whether it's loss or grief or whatever it might be, because that's probably the biggest challenges we face is loss, is that they've got those tools and the strategies in the back pocket to lean on in those times, and that's a big part of the reason why we do what we do, and I know Ryan's the same, is to provide those tools to empower people so that when shit does hit the fan, like you don't feel isolated, you don't feel alone, you've got an answer. There's an interesting story that I love to tell, which is when there was this young girl that was running through a town square because she heard the Dalai Lama was coming to town, and he was there, and there was thousands of fucking people around. And this little girl's just like, rummaging through, and she finally gets to him. And toggles on his little orange, cape or whatever he's wearing, and she's like, "Can I ask you a question?" And he was like, "Of course, little girl, of course, And she's like, "What would you give the world if you could give the world one thing?" And he thought about it for a minute, and he was like, self-confidence. And that story stuck with me because when we're confident, when we feel confident, we make just great decisions for ourselves, for our family, for our loved ones, for the world. And it's in those times when we doubt ourselves, where we're worried or anxious or we're in that state of fear, that we make rash decisions, horrible decisions, bad decisions. And again, high performance sport is an incredible expose of that, in real time. But we all deal with it, And as I said, we're all dealing with loss and especially, as I said, the motivation for events like this and for the Chumpy Pullen Foundation, it's built off this loss. But what we're really trying to push, and I know Blakey's a big part of that, is to empower and provide these preventative tools and strategies so that whether you're 38 or 18 or 8, you've got something to fall back on or feel like you've got support when, as I said, when the shit hits the fan and everything turns upside down. So, just again, fantastic work from Blakey in terms of that South Coast wellbeing stuff. Again, Ryan, up and down the East Coast with readiness camps, it's fucking amazing.
Amazing, man. You know what's interesting too? Yeah, 100%. That's worthy of a clap. The Dalai Lama. I was actually in Dharamshala last year, and I saw the Dalai Lama, and along with fucking, I don't know, there's a couple thousand monks and just Tibetans and well-wishers there, and he actually gave this long sermon, and the gist of it was, interesting just to expound on what you said, he actually said, very simply, he was asked a similar question, and what he said is, I wake up each morning, I do my pranayama, I do my breath work, and that enables me to be a good person and practice kindness and compassion and represent the plight of the Tibetan people. And that was basically his instruction to all of his followers was wake up and rip in your dogs, do some breath work, fucking psych up.
Well, it's funny you say that, the way that we like to practice it at MAP is confidence is the ultimate position state to be in. You can go on and then do courageous things. But in order to be confident, we need to be clear, and it's without clarity, you're confused, and when you're confused, you can't be confident, right? So, but in order to be clear about stuff, the base foundation is calm. You have to have that calm state, and the two arms in calm for me are regulate and appreciate. So regulate is, we use the thing called the fundamental 7, which is these 7 particular, elements that you want to focus on in order to set your day up, ticking the 7 boxes, and those 7, I'm happy to, if you guys want to know them, it's breath, it's sleep, it's water, it's food, movement, information, and thoughts. And, if you're meditating and doing breath work, you're ticking 4 or 5 of those off in 2 activities, and some of you guys may not want to do meditation, but you might want to find some activities that allow you to find those plus ones in those 7 elements so that you're priming yourself to be in that state where you can physiologically regulate. So when stress hits, and we're all under fucking stress, we know that, the economy and this, that, and the other. When stress hits, it's the ability to be able to bring yourself back to that present moment. You talked about presence before. Novak Djokovic talks about it beautifully. It's about recovering to the present moment. You don't get stuck out in doubt or in fear or worry. You might swing and oscillate a little bit, but you can come back to the present moment. But you need to train that, and that's what the fundamental 7 do. It trains you to regulate your nervous system and be in control of it so you can relax. And from there is when you can get that clarity of thinking and then be confident in the decisions making that you're making. And appreciate is obviously a gratitude practice. There's no greater state of being and feeling than gratitude. But gratitude, hands up here, so I always like to do this. If anyone's ever here's got a real shitty Christmas present before from a loved one and you're like, anyone got a bad one? Yeah, oh, yeah. Cool, fuck, all the time, right? So you might walk up and say, oh, thanks, Nan, for these socks and this soap or whatever you get. But ultimately, you don't really feel it, right? You love your Nan, but it's this is balls, take this away. So when you feel appreciation, that's gratitude. So obviously you're thinking about things that you love, who you love, what you love, why you love it. It's the why that actually brings that feeling back into the body. So you might say, I love my wife. Yeah, but why? And when you get specific and you can, as I said, feel that and sit in that for a moment, you're actually magnetizing more of that feeling. You talked about intention and attention before. It's that magnetism because we're electromagnetic beings. So the electricity is the thought and the magnetism is the feeling, right? And if we can feel the gratitude, again, we're in that beautiful state where it's just incredibly powerful, and that's where we emanate that confidence from. And as you guys may or may not know, the brain can't experience two emotions at the same time. So if you're in a state of gratitude, right, you're in the best state, you're not actually in those states of sadness. Now that's something that you guys want to practice, or I do it every day. I know Blakey does it every day. But the gratitude stuff and these things are practices that you have to do. And again, it's like life-saving. It's like, again, the adage is like someone's out on the beach and someone's drowning. It's like, oh, fuck, I need to learn first aid. You should have done that way before the event actually took place, when you're actually feeling in like a neutral state, or you're in that healthy place. So that's why we go back to mental health. Mental health is about creating health, not reacting to ill health. So a little bit more prevention and curative. But one of the things, as I said, the fundamental 7 and that those regulate and appreciate practices gives you that state of calm, which then gives you the foundation to move into those states of confidence, which the Dalai's like, that's where we are.
Hacking the body, you can't think your way into good mental health. Yeah, exactly. You just have to, kind of. I couldn't distill it any more beautifully than you just did, mate. That was unbelievable. Mate, I'm keen to know too, just quickly, because I guess we're kind of running over our time, but what do you notice we're really getting wrong in our culture when it comes to creating good mental health outcomes?
Wrong. I'd say it's more like I'm a bit of a glass half full kind of guy. So I'd like to maybe say that what we're focusing on, we're shifting from is the curative and, as you said, and Blakey says, the talk into that preventative. Like, as I said, 25 years ago, you're not going to find 50 businesses that are up on a wall that's surfing for Sanity. You're just not going to find that. You're not going to find people having conversations about mental health or suicide or anything that they deem to be dark. But just through growth, through, I guess, as we said, having these conversations, better strategies, and working with people, I think we're doing that right. I think we're seeing the value in implementing tools and strategies into our own daily lives, because we're ultimately under a lot of stress. I don't think there's been a greater time for stress. I mean, as I said, for mums and dads, and as I said, there's a lot going on. And I think what we're doing right, as I said, is that we're now focusing on the conversations, like Blakey said, but the next step is the activations of it. And those activations can be as little as that +1 in the morning where you're doing your breath work, or it can be surfing for 40 fucking hours, They're just as important as one another, Like, I think it's one of those things where you can affect and make that little ripple in your own family first. And I believe in terms of the fountain of fulfillment is that, we're at the individuals at the top. And when you're full and you're effervescent and you're alive, you spill out into your wife or your partner, then into your kids, and then into your friends and family, then into your community. But so often we just sacrifice our own health and wellness to serve everybody else, or to play the roles that we identify with. And ultimately, like you guys said, with the presence of being a parent, that you just don't get the best out of the experience, and neither do your kids or your partners. So our role, our responsibility is to turn up in the world as fired up, as you said, as fucking alive as possible, fulfilled, right? Fulfilled, but once you get to that state of fulfillment, is how can I serve that to people? And as I said, there's no greater experience or expression of that than a fucking event like this. This is amazing. Like, fantastic. Absolutely. Amazing.
Amazing, mate. Amazing. You've put it so succinctly. Are you the Blue Mountains Dalai Lama? Are you the Dalai Lama of our mountain range? Wild.
I live in Byron now, so.
I wasn't messing around when I said we were going to get him in.
Yes, mate, amazing. And so how do people connect with you and get involved with the projects and initiatives that you got going on?
Yeah, well, anyone can chat to the RT at the back. Ryan's he's our go-to guy for the camps. Run out of the HPC up here. It's amazing down in Jindy. But my particular business is about to launch a performance platform that is, because my mission with that business is to alleviate suffering and activate greatness, full stop. And as I said, when I was 22, working, I was trying to be a professional athlete, I couldn't afford me right now, and that's a fucking problem for me. So I had to create a solution to that, and what we're building is a platform where anyone who wants coaching is going to be able to get it, from whether you've got $4 a week to $400 a week, and being able to provide the most valuable platform to anyone at that level that's the mission that we're on. And it's a big mission, but as I said, it's something that's really important to me. And as I said, I think, talking about this with you guys tonight, like whether it's going out on Saturday and surfing your heart out for the right cause, or whether it's trying to win a world title, everyone's pushing to be a little bit more, achieve more, and I want to be able to support that.
That's amazing, mate. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, brother.
All right.
Amazing.
That was awesome. I'm going to open up the floor if anyone would like to ask any questions, either to Chelsea, Simon, or Blake. Anyone? Go raise your hand up. Hello? No questions? Anyone? All right.
I'm not really that kind of person to just throw that out on your resume. I don't think so. Yeah, no. Yeah. It was Bunnings. Like, I don't think they're, you know what I mean? You put that on your resume when you're going for Bunnings?
You may as well. Can't hurt.
Are there any...
It's not really going to help in the aisles when you're in the, down the aisles selling.
I might sell a couple of extra washers. I don't know.
She did a way better job than any guy in that fucking store. I'll tell you what, man. And she's hot. Any other questions? Any for anyone? Yes? No? All right. Well, massive round of applause for our amazing speakers. All right. I think we have a little word from Ashy and Matt, actually, coming on up here. We're going to have a little conversation about... Ashy? Yep, come on up. Ashy, this is our contest director here. Come on up. You are the whole thing. Without, community is nothing. Without people who put their whole soul into where they live. And this event is not a money-making event. This guy puts his heart and soul amongst being a father, a husband, living between Bali and here. He works his ass off. And I don't know anyone that puts more effort into this community than this man here. And a massive round of applause to this guy right here. He puts his fucking heart and soul into everybody. You call him up at 6 o'clock in the morning, mostly me, Ashy, I need information on this and this and this. And he does it. So we just really want to acknowledge the efforts that you put in here. And I'll let you go over your little list of things you need to go over.
I got my little notepad here tonight. I think Simon summed it up for me the best tonight when he said you probably wouldn't 25 years ago find 50 businesses supporting mental health. The reason I do this night is because I lost my dad to mental health, to suicide, and it was about 25 years ago. And back then I thought, fuck, there's got to be, more help than what there is now. And I always thought to myself, one day I'll probably try and do something, worthy of, making things, I guess, not better, but just more, I guess, better for the whole community. So here we are tonight. This event wouldn't be possible without all these sponsors. So I'm gonna run through the major. Is Pedal. These guys come on board last year, donating bikes, and Chipper's an owner. I've lived across the road from Chipper for 20 years, so he come on board, and we've got another bike this year, so that'll help us put the event on for next year. I've got Brent Savage, LS Properties. Brent actually helped me start the event about 5 years ago, so thank you, Brent. Greggy from Daughters of India. I think Greggy's here. I think he's outside. So Daughters of India, thank you very much. Jacob, RPF. He's got his first year with his team in. Jacob's been in since day one. Circle Group, I don't think they've come tonight, but Aaron and the gang there, thank you very much. S Resorts with the trip to Bali, they've come on board as well, so S Resorts. JVJ, now I've only met Johnny 4 months ago. I started working for the guy, and I went down there for 4 weeks, and he heard about my event. And he's actually a major sponsor now. You know, after 4 months, he got behind it. So thank you so much, Johnny, and the family. And Jado from JVG Sound as well. So thanks, Jado. Jado's away. There's 2 other people I want to thank straight up. Is Kenny and Pitsy, AJ and Janine's partners. Now, AJ and Janine have come on board, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. And they give up. We put hundreds of hours into this thing, and to have you 2 guys allow your wives to help me out is you know, ton of respect to you too. I love you both, and I think you're a great human, so thank you very much. The Mad Hueys are on board. They love it. They donate heaps of stuff to us. So Earth Beer are on board again tonight. They got the Lucky Door prize. Aluminium Access, Brian down the back. Thanks, mate. He donates the SCAF every year, free of charge. Just they've been on board from day one, so thank you. Jace, XL Fitness, Ice Bars, you name it, they got it this year for us. So Berlin, a beautiful MC. Berlin does everything for me. Berlin's got all the contacts, she knows everyone. We tried to get Kelly Slater down here tonight. It didn't happen, but he's in New Zealand. We tried hard. Tweed Coast Jet Ski, they'll run water patrol on the weekend, so could be solid. I think it'll be good for over the 90 kilos and over surfers on the weekend. So I think we might have a shot. So Cabba Board Riders now. Part of the reason I put this event on was because obviously when my dad passed, I was 15, and the guys like Chipper's dad, Kelvin, Kenny Vando, Langer, they all took me on board. They used to take me to Stratty Assault. So we donate heavily to the board riders, and they reciprocate and volunteer and give us a lot of time. They do the raffles, they do the finances, they give us the ABN. So Cabba Board Riders, thank you very much. Guest speakers tonight, Blakey, mate, awesome story. I think, you know, I think not my story resonates like yours, but to, you know, lose a dad back in the day, it really, you know, touched my heart. So thank you for your kind words tonight, mate. I know Kenny and Janine speak highly of you, so thank you very much, mate. Chelsea, once again, amazing story, world champ. I didn't think 5 years ago that I'd be sitting here, you know, in a room in tiny Cabarita with a world champ, so thank you very much. Simo, and Ryan down the back, Chumpy Pulling Foundation, mate, awesome, you know. Stuff like that really inspires me to do nights like this and do events like the Surfer Sanity. So, mate, cheers. Thank you very much for coming down. And Jed Smith, the fucking one and only, mate. Thank you so much. We actually, Borny done the runner on us. We're not sure what happened. And AJ and Janine went into meltdown yesterday, and I said, fuck it, I'll just call Jed. And, mate, you killed it tonight. So thank you very much. Love your work, mate. So that's sort of the end of my stuff here. We've got a few boards to give away tonight. I think we'll do each. Yeah, we might grab Matty Herworth up here to do the boards. So Matty, every year at 5:30 when the mental health get on board nights on, Matty will roll up with the boards that he glass that day, so if you can smell resin, they're still probably freshly done. But I
just wanted to say, just I know you've heard enough from us all tonight, but just how awesome this room feels as well. You know, just knowing that every one of you, we're talking about mental health, and on that subject, to feel what I felt when the community came together doing the world record, the same things happening in the room. I think the biggest message is that each and every one of you are a super valued, important part to the community, and without each and every one of you, what you contribute by showing up, being present, and these guys that sponsor it, but that support is you'll never forget it, and hopefully you all feel an important part of this community because it's shining in the room tonight. So well done, give yourselves a clap.